Pop-up Book of Habitats. In this unit, students will use key visual art elements to describe and map out habitats in a standing booklet. Students will apply knowledge of available resources, tools, and technologies to investigate personal ideas through the art-making process. Students will create personally satisfying artwork using a variety of artistic processes and materials. Students will also construct and support an argument with evidence that in a particular habitat, some organisms can survive well, some survive less well, and some cannot survive at all.
So first of all, I wanted the kids to understand what is a habitat, because the purpose of this unit that we were working on is for them to go from understanding what is a habitat, being able to then understand how do animals survive in that place. So our objective for today's lesson is I can describe what habitat an animal must live in. Then it will go into looking at some different habitats, having them name them, discuss them. Then we'll look at some pictures of some different habitats and then describe them. What do we see? Thinking about our senses, how would it feel? Because all of those things are important when it comes to forming the art. Who can describe how the Arctic habitat may be for an animal? Zariah?
It could be cold.
So what type of animal might we find in a polar habitat? Kyron?
A polar bear.
A polar bear. Ariana?
A walrus.
A walrus. And that way, through those visuals, they're thinking back on previous days' discussions of, okay, what do I hear? What do I see? What would it feel like, to make sure that they convey those ideas in their drawings.
Good morning, students. We have got an exciting project to be working on this week. We are going to be working on a project about habitats. I know y'all been studying about that in class, but we're going to actually make an art piece about that. Let me show you what we're going to do so you get an idea. One thing I like to do whenever I'm doing an art lesson like this is I like to show them a prototype to begin with. I find that really generates excitement with the students. Like, this is what we're gonna make. And in this particular project, I wanted to do not only a drawing component, but also this pop-up art book. So it went from a two-dimensional to a three-dimensional piece. So it's a form of sculpture using paper. The next thing I introduced is a really basic landscape lesson. The key to that is introducing the horizon line. We do that by talking about it. We also use hand gestures. Sometimes you can say horizon line all you want, but until you add this motion to it, it's not gonna click in there. What you're gonna do is I'm gonna put a horizon line right in the middle. Another thing too is I introduced to them how by just using horizon line, we can break up the paper and suddenly we have all this room to draw on the bottom and we have all this room to draw on the top. So now when I do this picture, I've got the ground and I've got the sky up here. When you're drawing with young children, I can say draw a lemon and they'll have a horrible time with it. But I can say draw a smile or draw a frown and I can get a lemon shape really quickly. They'll make the connection themselves. Oh, it's a lemon, it's a football. One thing I thought might be really fun for our picture today is that we drew a ship. That is so easy to do. Let me show you. It's so much fun. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna make a smile, just like this. And then we start talking about adding detail in a composition. The basic way I teach composition to children is, where does it look empty? And if they can tell me where it looks empty, that starts building the composition instantly. Here we go, I'll give them a little tooth here, just like that. What else could I put on that sun? What else could I do up there? Oh my gosh, I like all these hands, yeah.
You could put clouds.
Clouds! But look at this, clouds can come off the top of the paper like this, and they can come in from the side, like that, and they can go in back of each other. Oh, this is already filling up, isn't it? Putting that in is a big eye-opener for a lot of kids because it's the first time someone's introduced a way to really manipulate the paper.
And the kids actually really was excited about it, especially with him being able to do the skill building lesson ahead of time. And once we're able to put the content in with the art, then they're able to kind of tie the two together and understand, oh, well, this is how I'm going to describe through my drawing.
Our goal was to do 4 different habitats, and that each of those habitats have 1 to 2 animals that the children know how to draw.
Who can tell me what colors are we going to be using to really make this look like a swamp? Devin?
We could use green
We can use green. Why should we use green?
for the trees.
For the trees, we have lots of trees, right? What other colors might we use besides green, Elsie?
Brown.
Maybe brown. All right, what kind of animals might we find in our swamp? Jakari?
Alligators and frogs.
Maybe alligators and frogs. Good. Megan?
Snakes.
Snakes. Good.
Our process on this thing is they sketch in pencil first. We trace over using a Sharpie marker to give them a good solid line on the drawing, and then they go in with the color. And we do try to introduce a palette of colors. Dora may demonstrate how to actually layer a crayon. Now, you even got a little bit of the blue sky right in here too. You know what you could add over that blue is a little bit of a light yellow, and it'll give a really nice color to it. But at the same time, I also like it when I'm surprised by the kids and they put their surprise, their twist in on it, and that's really great, and I try to encourage that too. You know, try to give them a little direction, but then sort of back off from it and just say, what do you want to do here?
I love how some of y'all understand the idea that the swamp water is not blue.
Yeah, that swamp water's yucky. And a lot of times too, we are doing assessments through this whole process. So we may go and, while they're drawing, do some verbal assessment with them. Well, tell me more about this habitat and why are these choices made? Or tell me about another animal you might want to put in there. So throughout this week, we are processing and seeing where they are and making sure that they are able to discuss it with us.
I chose white because there's snow for the penguins to play, the baby penguins to play in. I chose the fish, the shark, and the whale because these animals live in the sea. And I also put like blue, brown, and a green to make it so swampy and disgusting.
We're able, like Mr. Ty said, to assess what they know, you know, depending on what we see in their drawing. We then are able to see, okay, well, this child needs a little bit more direction, so we might sit with one child longer than the other.
Well, I think when we finish the lesson, it's just this great aha moment for the kids. They got real excited about their art. I mean, like, when can I take this home? When can I show this to mom? And it becomes something they can interact with. And it's something very tangible. It's something they can play with, and they loved opening and closing it and making each of the little vignettes.
I think those projects came out beautifully. I was able to see things that I didn't even know the kids were able to do. And it was very detailed.
I think we find oftentimes that it can be very intimidating to draw animals or certain things. A lot of times I'll find a skill on a YouTube channel. There's some really basic drawing stuff for kids on YouTube. Even if you don't have a teaching artist with you, you can go online and find those things yourself and realize, oh, this is a lot simpler than I thought. It's just so much fun. That's really the main thing. It's a lot of fun.